The question is, what do you want to invest in? And I think the world is set up for the past and not the future. So why are you investing? You're investing to create a future opportunity for yourself. So you're investing your current time to create quality time in the future, really. So there's two things I always say. Firstly, invest in your quality time now too. Quality of life is the best investment you can make. Then make the investment in yourself. So I would say, okay, where are the most likely opportunities lie? Well, we've talked about crypto. It has a very high chance of being a very big market for a very long period of time. So you're likely to make more money in that than you will have an all-time record high valuation in the equity market. But there's another thing happening, and I've only just started writing about this, so this is quite new for people, is we're also about to enter a technology age of which the world and humanity has never gone through before. We're about to combine crypto, a whole new financial system, a whole new exchange of value system with artificial intelligence, robotics. We're adding in genome sciences. We've seen this with how fast the vaccine came. Money's going to flood into that. We're seeing it with everything from autonomous driving to distributed edge computing, where everybody can have enormous computing power, where the cloud is going. We've got a bunch of technologies so disruptive, all hitting at the same time, that we're likely to see an extraordinary period of continued growth. We think about technology stocks as being these darlings of the 2010s, like Google and Facebook and stuff. But the reality is that, Elon Musk, and I know people hate Tesla, I really don't care, because there's three things within Elon Musk's empire that are really interesting. One is, forget the cars. If he solves autonomous driving and has the computing, the programming to do it, he solved one of the largest problems the world has, which is we can free up all of that labor, all of that cost of taxi drivers, truck drivers, delivery drivers, everything goes. So what's Tesla worth in that? Fortune. So ignore how much they sell cars for, all of these things. These are much bigger things. Now, could it all go wrong? Of course it could. But he's also solved another thing is, everyone's like, why the hell does he want to go into space? Yeah, he wants to colonize Mars. No, what he's just done is strung up a bunch of satellites everywhere and is now creating Wi-Fi with faster broadband speeds than most people get outside of cities. So he's going to do that globally. I mean, that's extraordinary. That's Starlink. It's an amazing thing. So you're about to connect people that have never been connected before across the world. He's doing that. And then the other issue is, okay, we've got too many people and too much traffic. The other thing is his, digging tunnels. Everyone thinks it's crazy, but actually he's going to do fine from it. But there's a bunch of these kind of things that are going on. 5G is huge. I mean, we're going to connect everybody with gigantic amounts of data and enable things like the Internet of Things and distributed computing. And then everybody's moving to an entire new financial system, an exchange of value system based on cryptocurrencies. And then we're building things like the metaverse, where we can actually earn money in games or digital life. It's not even necessarily a game, digital worlds. And this is all happening right now. It's not like, if we'd had this conversation when we launched Real Vision, it's like these things are being researched and there's a bit of VC money. No, these are all happening. Starlink is rolling out its stuff. We are seeing the autonomous driving getting closer. Google's very close with Waymo now. All of this stuff is happening right now. I mean, crypto is happening right now. So it is actually a very exciting opportunity. Finally, you might be able to offset the destruction of the value of money by the growth of technology, in which I would include crypto, which has sound money at its core as well. So it's actually a positive message. Just keep out of the old shit and keep away from this value versus growth investing, because I actually think now nobody cares about, if I divide the S&P by the Fed balance sheet to try and look at how to value equities, they basically haven't gone anywhere since the Fed started quantitative easing. If I look at things like General Electric and old companies like that, they're just basically zombie companies once you adjust for the amount of free money. And to complicate things, it's actually a fall in the value of the denominator, which is fiat money. But when you look at the NASDAQ, it's actually outperformed. There's a real secular trend in technology going on that's above and beyond that of which they're devaluing money. And then when you look in if you look at crypto versus the Fed balance sheet, basically in a straight line up, because it's actually creating wealth. So only technology and crypto are creating wealth. Everything else is offsetting the fall in the value of currency, including real estate. It's amazing, fascinating wealth. And this is all new, and I've only started talking about it, so people will be scratching their heads about these concepts for a while. But follow my Twitter feed. I'll start trying to get people across the line in what I'm talking about.
Why is this time different? Because I feel like people were saying similar things like when the internet came around in the 2000s.
And it did. It changed everything.
But then everything crashed, right?
Did it? Or did it go through like the crypto winter? Did the bad investment? In the end, if you'd have held Amazon, you'd be really outrageously, disgustingly wealthy. That's noise. It was an S-curve. S-curves we're actually in an exponential adoption trend. All of these things I'm talking about are all going to be newly adopted by 7.5 billion people. People can't get their heads around this. It's not like selling a new fancy phone. It was the onslaught of the mobile phone itself was an adoption curve, as is crypto. So all of these things are going to have massive adoption curves. But in those adoption curves, you have something called an S-curve, which is there are points in the life cycle of a business where it's not clear it's going to survive or it needs to pivot to grow fast again. And Amazon saw that. In fact, it fell 90% in clear it's going to survive or it needs to pivot to grow fast again. And Amazon saw that. In fact, it fell 90% in 2000. And then it had several drops of 40 or 50%, maybe even 60% as we went through the S-curves of Amazon themselves or the market trying to establish, was this going to make it or not? That's normal. Bitcoin has gone through the same. Ethereum's gone through the same. The whole space will go through the same. And some won't survive. I thought about this because the narrative is the dot-com bubble. The actual reality is that was the largest game changer I've ever seen, probably since the 1950s that I've heard of, where, we created a consumer society. The internet was probably bigger than that. I mean, it was massive. So I think we should look back upon that point in history differently and just say, yeah, it was an early S-curve, but what came out of it changed the world.
I know there are a lot of investors that have been clinging to value investing principles over the last decade as they've continued to underperform. Do you think traditional value investing, the way Warren Buffett historically has done it, is dead?
I think it's not dead, but will it outperform? I don't know, because the world is moving, and people are going to hate me for saying this because it's such the antithesis of the cynical, this time is not different.